Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the latest edition of RE105, where I take old stories I've narrated and update them to modern audio standards. This particular story is called Family, written by LgFatherAnthrocite. Harvey was starting to get a little worried. The kids had been in the access tunnels for several hours, and he wasn't sure where they were. He pulled out his compad and called up the locations of the kids' compads. He saw that they were near the engine room and started aft towards the engines. As he approached them, he started calling their names. Charlie, Shauna, Grislet, Avkrev, come out, wherever you are. He started banging on the bulkhead. After a few seconds, an air duct in the ceiling swung open. From two sides, 4 heads popped out, 2 boys and 2 girls, 1 pair of humans and 1 pair of Zitchki.
Hi, Danny,
said the little human girl. He held up his arms, and she shimmied forward and slid out of the duct into his upraised arms. He kissed her on the head and set her on the deck. He stood back up and reached up for Shauna. She also dropped into his arms. Again, a kiss on the head and set her on the deck. He looked up at the boys. They looked back down at him. Shoulders, he said. The boys giggled and disappeared back into the vent. A second later, a small pair of legs swung out. He grabbed the ankles and set them on his shoulders. Charlie reached his hands down and grabbed the top of his dad's head. Once he was stable, his dad grabbed his wrists and slid him down his back and landed on the deck. Harvey looked back up and saw the insectoid set of legs and did the same thing, setting Grislet on the deck. Mess hall dinner, go! Harvey shouted the last bit, and all 4 kids tore off down the passage, snapping the bulkheads as they passed. Harvey walked more calmly towards the mess hall. As he rounded the corner in the mess hall, he saw Rexata putting 2 trays full of food onto the table. She was slightly shorter than he was, with a shiny blue-black carrot base. He rubbed the knuckles of his hand across the junction between her thorax and abdomen. She trilled happily, and they both sat down at the table. The kids were already in their chairs and starting to grab pieces of fruit and vegetables. There were also a small pile of pita and some shaved beef-flavored protein. Harvey pulled together a variation of a taco, and just before they took a bite, said, So, how do they look? Grislet swallowed his mouthful of cabbage leaf and said,
They looked pretty good. They were a little dusty, but there was no signs of animals.
Charlie was still chewing some apple as he said,
The pipes, cables were in good shape too.
The girls giggled at Charlie's bad manners. They were sharing a plate of fruits and veggies. They were talking back and forth in a mashup of Zitchki, Terran, and some of their own made-up words. Rexata had a piece of burgle root in her hand, and she asked, How much did you map this time? She bit into the piece of bitter tuber and chewed slowly.
From the galley to the life support, said Grislet.
Well, good job, Rexata said. We have about 2 more weeks until we dock. You guys will be done inspecting and mapping way before then. Good job, guys, said Harvey.
Dad, can we have a movie night tonight?
Shauna asked, clicking her mandibles excitedly. Genja, Chokta, asked Arkiv, using Zitchki to plead along with her sister. Genja,
please.
The boys joined in too. Genja, Dad, please, Chokka. Well, if you guys help Mom clean up and promise to make room for us in the pile, then okay. The children cheered, Rexata chittered at them, and Harvey smiled, again rubbing his knuckles on her back. The pile of blankets and pillows on the floor was massive. There were a few low trays with drinks and some popcorn and citrus slices. The kids were squabbling over what to watch. Harvey and Rexata were getting comfy in the pile. She looked at Harvey and used her crippling hand to hold his.
I'm so grateful you took us in, Harvey. I couldn't imagine raising 2 kids of my own.
Wait, I took you in? He looked confused. He'd been terrified of trying to raise kids without a mom. Rexata had been working with him when she found out her husband had been killed in a car crash. Harvey and his wife had helped her out immediately afterwards, watching her kids and having her over all the time after work. When Harvey's wife had taken ill, Rexata had started to take care of all the kids. After several weeks, she had moved into the lower level of their house with her kids. After Harvey's wife had died, she kept taking care of all the kids. When the opportunity to buy a cargo vessel had come up, Harvey talked to Rexata about joining him. The little family unit was moved out of a house and into a crew quarters of a small cargo ship. Harvey trained the kids to pilot and maintain the ship, and Rick Sutter dealt with the business end. They taught the kids, both Zitchki and Terran, and encouraged them to treat each other as siblings. After 6 months, the girls were nearly inseparable, and the boys were always testing each other, but always stood united against the girls. "It doesn't matter who took in who. We're family, and that's all that matters," Harvey said. The girls jumped in his lap, and the boys lay down on either side of their mom. Harvey smiled at his friend, winked, and pressed play. End of story. I'd quickly like to thank the T5 peeps: Cold War Boomerwaffen, Severin Cerberus, Bushmaster 177, Henry the Red, Caspar Arnholtz, Cold War Boomerwaffen, Elijah Silvercross, Dragzoon WRE, and Severin Cerberus. Thank you very much.